afternoon, Namibia and the world, and welcome once again to another session here at our Government Information Center. I am your host, moderator for the afternoon. My name is Shianwa Desire Kahiha. Our topic this afternoon, we're looking at operations of the Labor Advisory Council. And in the studio, I've got three panelists here who will be helping us discuss this particular topic. We have Ms. Francina Ngitukwa, and she is the Chief Labor Relations Officer with the Ministry of Labor, Industrial Relations, and Employment Creation, pardon me. Good afternoon, ma'am. Thank you for being with us.
It's nice having me.
We also have Mr. Nande Kayala, and he's the Control Labor Relations Officer with the Ministry of Labor, Industrial Relations, and Employment Creation. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for being with us.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
And we also have Ms. Martha Ngipunjwa, and she is the Chief Labor Relations Officer, also in the Ministry of Labor, Industrial Relations, and Employment Creation. Good afternoon, ma'am. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having us.
Kicking off, very simple. Ms. Francina, give us a brief description of what LAC is and in the same vein, its functions and roles.
The LAC stands for the Labor Advisory Council, which it's a tripartite body appointed to investigate and advise the minister on labor and employment matters, as well as any matter pertaining to International Labour Organization and any other matter referred to the minister to the council.
Brief, very short. I like that. To the point. Ms. Martha, we move on to you. Which section of the Labour Act provides for the establishment of the LAC, and how many members does it constitute, and who appoints them?
Thank you very much for the question. The Labour Advisory Council is established in terms of Section 92 of the Labour Act, Act number 11 of 2007. The Minister of Labour is mandated by the Labour Act to appoint only 13 members of the Labour Council. It means the minister cannot appoint more than 13 members to the council.
Aha, okay, okay. Wow. Didn't know that part. Mr. Nande, can you please share with us the role of the LAC in the development of the Code of Ethics for conciliators and arbitrators?
Thank you. I would like to indicate the section that gives the power to Labor Advisory Council, which is Section 93 of the Labor Act, which basically talks of that the Labor Advisory Council must advise and investigate on code of good practice. What happens there is that the standing committee the statutory committee of the Labor Advisory Council receives the request. They then investigate on behalf of the Labor Advisory Council. They investigate on the appropriate codes, produce a draft, and then submit that draft to the Labor Advisory Council. The Labor Advisory Council, upon receiving that draft, they will then interrogate it again and make changes, and then make the necessary recommendation to the office of the minister. And that's how the involvement of the Labor Advisory Council comes in when it comes to producing a code of good practice for conciliators, arbitrators.
Okay, okay. As we keep saying here on our sessions, it's conversations that we're having. It is always topics that touch me and you, so you're always welcome to join this conversation through our social media platforms. You can drop off your comments, your questions, and we can pose them to the panelists. Our handles on the various social media platforms that we're streaming through. On Facebook, you can find us at Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, Republic of Namibia, Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, Republic of Namibia. That's on Facebook. On YouTube, our handle there is MICT Namibia, MICT Namibia. You can also give us a call in the studio, and the number in the studio is 061, that's the area code, 400 397. 061 400 000-397. While we wait for you to join us in this conversation, we continue with our panelists. And the next question goes to Ms. Francina. What are the terms of office for membership?
Section 95, subsection 1, stated that members can only be appointed for a period of 3 years, and they might be reappointed upon the expiry of their office term.
Okay.
So it's only 3 years, and then
That's it.
another people comes in. Yeah, but if the nominating institution feels like they still need that person, the person might be reappointed as well.
Okay. But do we have a cap on the number of reappointments?
Excuse me?
Do we have a cap on the number of reappointments? For example, if okay, hypothetically speaking, if I am appointed onto this council and after the 3 years my term expires and I'm reappointed and that term expires, how many more times am I allowed to be reappointed? Is there a cap on the number of times that I'm allowed to be reappointed to the council?
No, there's not.
Okay.
There's no limit. You can be appointed as many times as your institution wishes.
Okay. What is the most number of reappointments that you've had, if you can recall?
Maybe two,
3, 2?
2, 3, yeah. Not that
Stanande?
much.
3?
We had around about 2 to 3 reappointment from various institutions who saved more than 2 terms with the Labour Advisory Council.
Okay. Ms. Martha, who do LOC members represent?
As my colleague has alluded earlier, LAC is a tripartite body and consisting of 13 members. 4 individual members represent the interest of state. 4 members represent the interest of registered employers organization. 4 other members represent the interest of registered trade union. And chairperson of the Labour Advisory Council is an independent who is a Namibian citizen. You cannot appoint a chairperson who is not a Namibian.
Okay.
And this person must not be either represent the interests of the state, employers, or workers.
Yeah.
The chairperson must be independent.
Okay.
Yes.
That is understandable. That is understandable, especially looking at what it is that the council does. Again, as I said, our call-in line here is 061, that's the area code. 400-397 is the number in the studio. And also you can just drop us your comments and questions on our Facebook page as well as on our YouTube platform as well. Mr. Nande, how many statutory committees are in place and what are the functions and the roles of these statutory committees?
Under the Labour Advisory Council, we have 2 statutory committees. One is named the Committee on Dispute Prevention and Resolution, with the role to advise the LAC on the qualification of arbitrators and conciliators, code of good practice, as I alluded earlier, for conciliators, arbitrators, and on any matters, dispute prevention matter when it comes to the service provided by the Office of the Labour Commissioner and the recipient of those services. The second statutory committee that we have is the Committee on Essential Services, which is there to recommend the designation of essential services in terms of Section 77 of the Labour Act, or to advise or provide recommendation if there is a dispute of whether an employer or employee is operating in essential services.
Okay. I think I'll pose this one to Ms. Francina. Who has the power to dismiss members from the council, and under what conditions do these dismissals take place when they do?
Thank you. Section 96(1) of the Labor Act gave minister power to remove any member from the council in case that member is no longer serving the interest of the sending institution, has been absent for 3 or more than 3 consecutive meetings without a valid reason or good cause, or is declared insolvent, or is either convicted of an offense, or maybe the person has been in prison without an option of a fine. Yeah, or if the member has resigned in writing and the resignation has been submitted through the executive director's office.
Okay. Besides the resignation condition, have we ever had dismissals taking place? And can you give us examples of some of these dismissals? Not necessarily name, but just general examples of, we had a member, these are the reasons of their dismissals.
I think it was even last month, if
Ah.
I'm not mistaken. We removed one member who has been absent from 3 consecutive meetings without a valid reason.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it happens.
What constitutes a valid reason or an invalid reason?
At least, either usually we inform them in advance that there will be a meeting taking place when,
Yeah.
and they usually confirm in advance as well.
Yeah.
So some members, they don't respond either to our emails or calls, and they are not even saying why are they not attending the meetings.
Okay.
But if you are maybe hospitalized or you have other duties
Yeah.
that are deemed important, then that can be regarded as a valid reason.
Understandably so. Okay. Ms. Martha, can the LAC create any other committee?
Yes, yes. In terms of Section 97, subsection 2, it gives the LAC the power to establish any other committee in order to in performance of its function. Like currently, we do have the Committee for Occupational Health and Safety, Committee on Variation, Committee on Exemption not to train a Namibian as an understudy, and Committee on Transition informal to formal economy.
Okay.
Currently, those are the other committee that have been established by the current LAC that we have.
Okay. Do you have cases where you've had committees in the past that have been dissolved? What are some of these, if you have such cases? What were these committees and what were the reasons for their dissolving?
Some of the committee, they are only given a specific task. After the task has been completed,
Yeah.
that committee can be resolved. But the statutory committee, those ones, they are there.
Yeah, they're in ongoing
Yes.
functions,
Yes.
if I could put it that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, conversations, very important. So please do give us a call if you have any question at all with regards to the LAC. We have panelists here who are experts in their area of work, and they are willing to answer any questions that you have. Facebook, Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, that is our handle there. Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, Republic of Namibia, and on YouTube, MICT Namibia. As we draw to a close of our session this afternoon, I'd like to pose this next question to Mr. Nande. Can you please share any current projects or programs under the LAC?
Thank you very much. Most of the time when programs come to the LAC, it's either through a request that comes to the minister's office, or they are initiated as per the mandate of the LAC. Currently, we have a project on the implementation of the ILO recommendation 2004 that talks of the transition from the formal to informal economy. And then we also have a project of which the LAC is currently reviewing the alternative dispute prevention system in place at the Office of the Labor Commissioner, of which the LAC is seeking for a consultant who can relook at the current system in place. Another project that the LAC was also engaging through the Minister's Office is by approaching tertiary institutions to produce a curriculum that will speak to the work of a conciliator arbitrators. As we have looked into the market, we do not have a direct qualification that leads for you to be a professional arbitrator. So the LAC has engaged through the Minister's Office the tertiary institutions such as the University of Namibia, NAST and IUM to look into the possibility of designing such a curriculum so that the need of the ministry can be met. Another project that we are looking at, or that the LAC has been looking at, is the possible ratification of Convention 155 that talks of occupation. So currently the LAC has established, as my colleague has indicated, whenever there's a project, there's also a committee created. So those committees then are carrying out various functions to advise the LAC on the project that it undertook.
Okay. You said something quite interesting here, that currently there is no program in our tertiary institutions that speak into an arbitrary qualification. In its current form, those that do become arbitrators, because we do have them, where do we draw them from? From which professions do we draw them from?
The minister has given a criteria to the LAC in terms of what should the LAC look at when recommending for the appointment of a conciliator arbitrator. So most of the time we are looking at those that did labor law, those that are in the field of LLB, and also those who attained a BA degree and have added the subject of conciliation, arbitration, and law of evidence to their degree. So when I indicated that there is no direct qualification, I want to explain that one cannot start from first year up to its final year just concentrating on arbitration as subject. It either happen that you are coming from a humanity faculty and then you have added those subjects that will enable you to do conciliation arbitration. But most preferably currently, those that have attained the LLB qualification are seen to be the most preferred candidate, as most of the award writing aspect and gathering of evidence has been touched in the LLB program.
Okay. So no, it's clearly understandable why the request has been put through, because then you at least ensure a strong pot of these people with their designated qualification. We have one question here that we will be posing to Ms. Martha. Can you please explain if Namibia subscribes to tripartism and social dialogue? If so, what are the legal instruments in place? Mr. Nande, maybe you want to help?
Yes, perhaps I can just, my colleague can add after that. Yes, to answer the question, yes, Namibia has subscribed to tripartism and social dialogue. This has been attained because Namibia is a member state to the International Labour Organization. And also has ratified the Convention 144 that talks of labor consultation or consultation, in tripartite consultation. It also goes further when you look at the Namibian Constitution under Article 144, that then also gives power to convention that have been international law or international instrument that has been adopted that then also form part of our legislation or Namibian legislation. Then, of course, we have the overall Labour Act, which also went further in putting it into law, of which under Section 92, a national social dialogue unit was created, which is referred to as the Labour Advisory Council. So through the Labour Advisory Council, social dialogue and tripartism is being promoted by the country.
Okay. Nicely put. I'm loving this panel. They're educating me today. I'm being well educated, and I think that is our mission here with the Government Information Center. We want to hear what are the issues on the street. We want to hear from you, our viewers, when you have questions and comments to make. Yet at the same time, we also want to ensure that we educate one or two people who did not know about the various or the details of the various topics that we cover. With this, I'd like to ask our panelists to, if any, to give us their last remarks for the afternoon. Ms. Francina?
I think I would just like to give a highlight on one of the committee that my colleague spoke about, and that is a committee on exemption not to appoint Namibian as understudy for every non-Namibian employed. So we would like to call out employers out there, whoever is employed a non-Namibian employee, at least to appoint understudy in order for at least a Namibian to acquire skills. Because the reason they are hiring non-Namibians is because that skill is not readily available in the country.
Definitely.
And in case they are not able to appoint, or maybe the skill is maybe it's impractical for them to appoint an understudy, at least to apply with the ministry or to apply to be exempted, not to train an understudy.
Okay. Okay.
That's fine.
Thank you. Again, I'm being educated. Mr. Nande?
Yes, from my side, I would just like to indicate that in order for us to enjoy harmonious labor relation, we need the tripartite structure, as it is only when both government, employers, and union are working together in terms of policy development that we can give a better living standard for our workers and employer out there. And also with what my colleague have indicated, besides only understudy, on any other legislation within the labor law, we encourage members of the public, employers, workers' representative, to use what we called the Bible of the Labor Act, so that they can seek guidance on how to solve some of those eminent labor problems that we face on a daily basis.
Ms. Martha?
My final remarks is not far from what my colleagues have said. Labor Advisory Council is and remains as essential vehicles for promoting harmonious labor relations, industrial peace, and enhancing social dialogue and tripartism in Namibia.
Okay.
Yes.
There we have it. We've got a very to-the-point panelists this afternoon. I told you, they're experts in their area of work. So I'd like to say thank you to them, for informing us so well on the various aspects that we spoke about this afternoon when it comes to the Labor Advisory Council. And I do hope that if you have any more questions that you need clarity on, that you now know where you can go to, you can approach them, and I'm sure if they can't help you, they will be in a position to direct you to the necessary offices that could then be able to assist you in your issue. Ms. Francina, Mr. Nande, Ms. Martha, thank you very much from myself, Shianwa Kahiha, as well as my production crew here in the studio. We say thank you very much, and we will be seeing you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.